Hi everybody. I want to talk a little bit about this T concept that we are reviewing in MindEdge this week. It is a method for us to be able to review and analyze the effectiveness of our essay, and it's something that we can use in any piece of writing that we actually do, be it for academic or professional reasons. So I'm going to kind of walk you through what it says in MindEdge, and then hopefully we have a better understanding of how to create awesome, amazing essays that are effectively structured to support our thesis. Alright, the first part of the T acronym is thesis, and interestingly enough, the second part of the T acronym is topic sentence, so I kind of feel like it should be T, but we'll go with T. Alright, the thesis is an important part of your paper. It's essentially the backbone of your paper. It's a clearly formulated statement to indicate without question what your topic is. And a little bit above in the announcement this week, I do talk a little bit about your thesis. And you can always let me know if you have any questions on how to create a proper thesis for our critical analysis. Excuse me. When we are doing the T process, the first thing we want to do is analyze our thesis statement and make sure that it is effective. And a very simple way to do that is to review the questions presented in MindEdge and be able to answer yes to all of them. So your first one is, do you have a clear thesis statement? And does it appear at the end of your introductory paragraph? Usually, almost always, a thesis comes at the end of your introduction. So take a look at that first paragraph and see if your thesis statement is there and if it's clear. Does your thesis statement express one single central idea or opinion in response to the essay prompt? Okay, so we're talking about our reactions to these essays. Does your thesis statement clearly state, hey, this is my opinion, and these are the reasons why? Have you arrived at a thesis statement after careful and well thought out consideration of the prompt or topic and the evidence at your disposal? Essentially what we're asking ourselves here is, your thesis reflective of all that analysis that we did of our chosen essay? Does your thesis statement express your opinion? Now, not all thesis statements that you will write in your academic career will be opinion-based, but in this class it most certainly is. Our critical analysis is largely based on our opinion and interpretation of that essay that we chose. So does your thesis statement clearly indicate your opinion about that essay? And then finally, does your thesis statement remain the same as a result of the evidence that you've selected? This goes beyond your initial reaction to that analysis. And does your thesis reflect, and is your thesis supported by the pieces of evidence, those quotes and paraphrase content that you're using? Does that evidence support what your thesis is saying? If not, then maybe we need to either adjust our evidence or adjust our thesis statement. Now, the second part of our T analysis is topic sentence. And this is incredibly important because remember that we're writing structured essays now, and while MindEdge offers questions and prompts to support our thinking, we really need to be formulating our answers to these prompts into full effective paragraphs. And part of an effective paragraph is having a topic sentence. So let's make sure that each of our body paragraphs have a topic sentence, and we should be able to say yes to both of these two questions. Do I have a topic sentence at the beginning of each body paragraph? Yes. Awesome. Great. Do my topic sentence relate back to your thesis statement? Essentially, a topic sentence is like a mini introduction to each paragraph. We don't really want to say, in this paragraph I will be talking, we want to say another example of evidence from this essay, something like that. We don't really want to preview, and that's what in this paragraph I will be talking about is a preview statement. We want to avoid that, but do make sure that we have strong topic/introductory sentences for each paragraph and make sure that they tie back to our thesis statement. The next section of our little T analysis here is evidence. Remember that our thesis needs to be supported by evidence, and the evidence that we're using is from the essays themselves. Quotations or paraphrase or summary that supports our observations that we presented in our thesis. And the questions that we want to be able to answer yes to are, do I have primary evidence? That's those direct quotes and paraphrase from the essay. Have I selected relevant and convincing evidence? Essentially, do the quotes and paraphrase content support specifically one of the key points of your thesis? Do I have enough evidence to support my thesis statement? For each part of your claim, each part of your thesis, you need to have a correlating piece of evidence. So let's make sure that we're doing that. Does my evidence fulfill the requirements of the essay? This is where we want to take a look at the rubric and see if we have enough evidence and if we're using it correctly according to our critical elements. And then, does each selected piece of primary evidence contribute to a different topic sentence, which develops and supports my thesis statement? Essentially, what we want to be able to say yes to here is that each paragraph has its own piece of evidence, and that piece of evidence goes further to support our thesis. Okay? And then finally, we have analysis. And again, analysis is just like taking a deeper look at something. And in this case, we're going to take a deeper look at our own essay. We want to be able to say yes to these two questions. Do I have an analysis for each piece of my primary evidence? Instead of just dropping in that evidence there, do we explore it and explain how it supports what we're trying to say in that paragraph? Does my analysis go beyond merely restating what is obvious in the evidence? And this is where like the analysis of our own thought process kind of comes in. We're not just repeating in our own words the evidence that we're using. We want to analyze it and explain how it's supporting our thesis. So we want to make sure that all of this works together, our thesis, topic, evidence, and analysis, in order to support what we're trying to say in our critical analysis. And after we complete a reverse outline and use T to connect to support our critical analysis, you should be able to have a nice, solid, effective essay. And I know that this is a big step for some of us, and if you need any support at all, let me know. We can text, chat, we can even Skype if that's what you'd like to do. You can contact the SNHU Online Writing Center as well, and of course we do have our general discussion forum, general question discussion forum. If you have any questions that you think might benefit your fellow students. So as you work on this, let me know if you have any questions. Good luck. You don't need luck. You got this.